Hello, today we're going to look at changing strings on a classical guitar. We looked at electric guitar, strings, standard electric guitar. We're going to also look at acoustic guitar and electric guitars with a Floyd Rose system. But I've got to change the strings on this, so I thought I'll take a video of it as I do it. One thing I would say before you do change strings on a classical guitar is if you need it for anything important within 24 hours, it perhaps wouldn't be a good time to change the strings. Because they've got so much elastic in them, they do take a little bit of time to settle down. So if you've got a couple of days where they can sort of bed themselves in and settle down, that's great. The two things you're going to need, well, three things you're going to need a classical guitar or a guitar with nylon strings, a tuner. Don't forget, if you haven't got a tuner, if you've got a smartphone, you can get an free app, and they've got tuners on there, and a set of strings. So, I've got my tuner on the top, I've got my classical guitar, can I have the strings? Thank you. Okay, I'll just get into these and I'll show you what you get. This is a pretty cheap set off eBay, but because I haven't got any concerts coming up or anything, I just wanted to put these on to show you. Okay, so we've got 6 strings, from thickest to thinnest, so we've got E, A, D, G, B, and E again on the thinnest. And we'll start with the thickest string. Now, what people say generally with all kinds of guitars is, unless you have to give it a really deep clean, the guitar, do one string at a time because it doesn't shock the neck. And also with a classical guitar, you don't have a truss rod, so it doesn't have that metal rod with the little key here so that you can get to, the little hole so you can get to. So it's quite a good idea to keep a reasonable tension on the neck itself. So I'm just going to start with undoing one string. So I'm starting with the E string. I've undone so it's got loads of slack on here. And then down at the bass, they don't have a ball on the end of the string like a standard electric guitar, so they use winds to actually keep the tension of the string on there. So if I undo this, I'm just going to unwind him and pull him out, and there's our string, so there's actually no ball on the end of there at all. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the thickest at the top and just take him out there. Okay, so now my E string is now missing, so I'm going to get an E from the new pack, open him out. Okay, and again, similar to the string we had before, apart from much more shiny, because they've been on for a good, well, 6 months probably, because I don't play a huge amount of classical guitar. So again, what I'm going to do is start at the back of the guitar. Now, the string needs to feed through, you'll have a little hole here, it needs to feed through until you've got a fair bit of slack through here. Don't worry about, the strings are relatively long, so don't worry about having too much here because you can always cut it off after. So, I fed my string through, then I'm going to bring it back on itself, and then what I'm going to do is bring him round. So, you feed it back on itself and then bring it round the string, and now, it's quite a fiddly little bit, but you feed it through again, so it makes a loop, through again, and if you've got enough slack, you could do them through again. Now, on this E string, I don't think there's any need for me to do that. So, and you see what I mean about this? When that could cause a vibration when you're playing, but I wanted to leave a lot of slack there, but if you get some nice little scissors there, you could just cut that at the end. Okay, so I've fed that through, and now, this is where we go to the tuning pegs, and again, we've got a hole here in the tuning pegs. I don't know if you can see that there, but we've got a hole. Again, we feed this through, and bring it back up on itself. Now what I do at this point, because nylon and classical guitar strings are extremely stretchy and slippery, so if I just started tightening this, it may take and it may hold, but you might find under different temperature changes, certain things like that, they can slip. So what you've got to do is again feed it underneath itself, so you've got almost, it's not a knot because it's only gone through once, but let me show you that again. So I've left a little bit of slack there, I've taken it over the top of the string and to make the loop, tighten him up, and as you tighten this, I just try and make a point of just grabbing that string and taking away any slack. So you see here, I've got a little bit of slack there. Just tighten him up a bit. Keep tightening. And you see what I've done there? By doing that, that string can no longer slip through the hole because it's locked into itself. So now, again, righty-tighty to change the string, to tighten the strings up. And again, all I'm doing here is when I'm tightening this up, is making sure the string feeds in towards the guitar. For more than anything, it just looks neater. And it keeps a nice line of tension there between my, it's quite straight on the eye, so it should be more stable with tuning. And then tighten him up, get your tuner, tune him to E, and then, once you're in E, give him a little wiggle here. What that will do is just take some of the elastic out of the string. And then if I switch my tuner on, switch to guitar, we're now in E. And again, just a little bit of a wiggle, and on to the next. A string, so the second thickest string, I've slackened the string off. Again, down here, we've got to look at the unravelling this. It can be a bit fiddly to get those, but once the string's slackened off, unravels, just pulls through. And at the top, I'm just going to undo him. Sorry, be out of shot a minute, but so just feed him through, and then really quickly, I'll get the A string out of the set. Okay, so the A string, and again, what I'm going to do, feed it through the hole at the back. Again, not worrying about this bit of slack, because they can scratch, watch you don't scratch the guitar with it, and they can rattle a bit. We're going to cut those off at the end. It's better to have too much than not enough and find you haven't got enough to make the whines. Okay, so I usually find, oh, I don't know what that would be, just a few inches should do that. And again, we're going to do the same process. We're going to take him round the string, feed him inside, make it nice and neat, put a bit of pressure on. And because the string's slightly thinner than the E, I can do that, say 3 times, and that's going to be really secure then. Tighten him up. Make sure that doesn't move. 3 was probably too much, but... And then again, I don't know if you've got that there, but we're going to feed through that hole. Tiny bit of slack left. Bring him round. And then with this, just feed him underneath and over the top, make a little loop. And then, once I get a bit of tension on here, sorry, let's bring it round. As I'm putting the tension on the string, all I'm going to do is just pull that slack a little bit. And I don't know if you can see that, but it makes a little lock. And therefore, when I tighten now, that string can't go anywhere. So you don't need, again, I'm making sure that string's winding to the inside. But you see, I've hardly got any winds there. Doesn't matter at all because it can't go anywhere. That is locking the string in. So that will stay secure and keep your tuning secure. Okay, I'll just do the rest of the strings and then we'll have a look at it at the end. Okay, so you didn't have to endure all that, I've done that with the rest of the strings. So, taken the string off one by one, wound them through, brought them back round on themselves, wound them round. I tried to keep them all the same, the wind going the same way just because it looks neater. With the classical guitar, because they give you quite a lot of length of string, you could end up, like I have, with a couple of extra centimetres round here, and these can end up rattling, and sometimes I suppose you could scratch. It's quite soft wood, so what you can do is just cut these off. What I would do is leave some sort of a centimetre of run there, and again at the top, just in case if there is any movement, and again at the top, if I can just show you that, just cut them off and make them look neater. Then it's the case of, like we said before, because they're nylon strings, they can take a bit of tuning. This is where the tuner comes in really handy. So the E is pretty much in tune because remember we stretch that in. Same process with the A. just give them a little bit of a stretch, not too much, but a bit of extra tension. Tune them up. If you do that, I think if you did that 3 times, then the following day, just make sure they're in tune. It should then keep a standard tuning. And we've got a whole new set of strings ready for a concert. Good luck.